welcome back to my channel. Or if it's your first time, welcome to my channel. My name is Marlene and I talk about eating disorder recovery and everything related to healing the relationship with your own body, food, and with movement. As you could see in the video title, today we're going to talk about the truth about extreme hunger, because there are certain things that I remember feeling in my recovery and that I hear a lot from my clients. And every time I hear the same thing from different clients, it's a sign for me that this is definitely the eating disorder speaking. So number one is actually, am I really so hungry? Is it really extreme hunger, or am I just greedy and lazy? So this one is such a common one. I remember feeling the same way. I was like, I've been having extreme hunger for so long already. What if I'm just like super greedy? What if I'm just lazy and not working out? And I'm telling you, there is nearly no client that I haven't heard that sentence from. And this is super common, because as long as we still quote unquote have to gain weight, and unfortunately a lot of doctors and even institutions work with a BMI, so as long as people tell us and society tells us that we still have to gain weight, it is definitely easier to listen to the extreme hunger, because it's kind of like, well, I have to gain weight anyway, so I can just eat as much as I want to. But once we hit a certain point, and oftentimes that also happens when we notice that our body is changing and when the ED gets louder, because it's like, no, I want to stick around for whatever reason, that's the time when we start to question everything. So if we continue to listen to our extreme hunger, which is absolutely necessary in eating disorder recovery, completely regardless of your weight, then those thoughts can get louder and louder and louder. And now we don't only have the eating disorder thought, but we also have society where as long as we have to gain weight, it's kind of okay to eat a lot, but afterwards a lot of people, they might not even make comments towards you, but society just like demonizes eating certain foods, demonizes eating a lot of foods, and demonizes resting. But recovery is such a special situation. Recovery is not a norm. So the things you need in recovery are things that society is not even aware of. So this one, if you know that thought, if you catch yourself being like, oh, I have the same thought, I can assure you, you are not lazy, you are not greedy, you're not making anything up. This is extreme hunger, and extreme hunger lasts way longer than only a couple of weeks or months for some people. So if you are still feeling extreme hunger after several months or even years, that might be because your body still needs the energy. Your body will not start to repair all the internal things before it has enough energy. So it won't start repairing when you still have to gain weight to even go to like a healthy baseline. No, your body actually needs a lot of extra energy that it gets through sending you extreme hunger signals, and if you listen to them, then you get the energy in, and then after time your body slowly starts repairing. So that process just needs a lot of time. And at the same time, your brain is also still in starvation mode, so your brain will still make sure to send you those hunger cues. So in order for your brain to relearn that it's safe, it is necessary to listen to those things. So again, you're not lazy, you're not greedy, you're not making anything up. Another truth about extreme hunger is, even though you might in the beginning be super excited to finally be able to eat all the things, and some people are even ashamed to admit that, that is super common. So this honeymoon phase, as I call it, is something that the majority of people in eating disorder recovery goes through. You might feel conflicted because part of you is still like holding on to the ED, part of you is still so afraid of gaining weight, but part of you might also be super relieved and excited to finally eat. But that excitement can go away over time. So just to prepare you, if you are currently in the process, or if you notice that this excitement is going down, it doesn't mean that your extreme hunger is over. It doesn't mean that you're recovered or that you should go back. And this is also a case where a lot of clients actually ask me, but wouldn't it be intuitive eating if I would now like just stop eating as much because I'm not excited about it anymore? And the answer is no. The excitement in the beginning is absolutely normal. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing to feel guilty or ashamed for. But it is also normal to not feel that excitement over time, because maybe you have eaten all the things that you always craved and didn't allow yourself. Maybe you have tried those things that you never tried before. And so over time, it is just natural that the excitement goes down. But that does not mean that you should stop eating those things or that you should go back. It is very common to miss the excitement phase because Of course, it makes it a little bit easier to listen to the extreme hunger when you're still excited. That's like an emotion that helps us to engage with those things. But again, it doesn't mean that it would be intuitive eating to just not eat as much anymore. Your body needs so much more energy than you think. And just because the excitement goes down does not mean that your body doesn't need this energy anymore. And the next point always has to do with guilt and shame. A lot of people in extreme hunger have a huge problem to eat in front of other people. That is something that we already see a lot in eating disorders. And of course, in recovery, just that doesn't change from one day to the other. But because a lot of people in extreme hunger just need so much energy and therefore need a lot of food, they feel super, super ashamed to eat in front of others. They feel like others will judge me. Others might even think that I'm binge eating now. And just a little disclaimer, extreme hunger is not binge eating. Extreme hunger is also due to the restrictions, just as binge eating, but extreme hunger is not binge eating. So if you feel ashamed to eat in front of others, or at least feel ashamed to eat everything in front of others, that is something very common. And I honestly, with my clients, I always work on finding a good balance, because I think as long as it doesn't mean that you're completely ashamed to eat in front of others, as long as it doesn't have an impact on your day-to-day life, it is okay to eat a few things in private as well. We just want to make sure that it doesn't become a thing where you're completely ashamed to eat in front of others, because that would be a little bit disordered, and we just want to find balance in our life. And in life, it's just super, super normal to eat in front of others, to eat together with others. That can actually be even helpful in recovery. But I also don't want you to feel like you have to eat every snack in front of everyone else, even though sometimes those people might not be around, or you might just like crave something when you're alone or whatever it is. So this is just one of those situations where it's very individual, and where we also want to make sure that we work on something that is actually sustainable. But it is definitely a common feeling to feel ashamed to eat in front of others. Another truth about extreme hunger is that it can feel super exhausting. I mentioned before, in the beginning, there's oftentimes a phase where you're super motivated, where you're excited to eat all those foods, but over time, honestly, extreme hunger can get exhausting. It can feel exhausting to never feel full. It can feel exhausting to not being able to stop thinking about food. And again, this is just a sign that your body is still in recovery, and that your body is still in the process of going back to normal. And that can just take some time. And that can actually take a lot of time for some people. But it is normal to feel exhausted by it. It is normal to have the thought of, I want to be able to not think about food all the time. I want to be able to eat something and feel full. And so this is oftentimes a phase where all behaviors sneak in for some people. It is just like trying to suppress the hunger. Some people try to, hyper focus on protein or something because they've heard that protein makes them full longer. But honestly, in extreme hunger, your body doesn't care. And in extreme hunger, your body needs everything. Your body needs especially carbs. Your body needs protein, but it also needs fats. Your body just needs everything. So instead of hyper focusing on like micros and macros, which we already don't want to do because that oftentimes has to do a lot with the eating disorder, we want to make sure that you continue to listen to the extreme hunger, even though honestly it can be super exhausting at times. But I can promise you as well, it will go by. Also, super common in extreme hunger is not knowing if you're hungry or not. Sometimes we question our hunger cues so much in recovery because the eating disorder still gets loud, and you're like, am I really hungry? Am I not? And then you're sitting there for 30 minutes and not having a snack, and like overthinking if you're really hungry. And then also diet culture comes in with all those sneaky things from, if you're really hungry, just eat an apple. Who was ever really hungry and then ate an apple? I'm sorry, not me. Or, sometimes hunger might be thirst. Like, no. If you are questioning if you're hungry, eat. And I know that sounds extreme, but it is recovery. Your body needs all the energy. Your body needs so much energy. So if you are unsure if you are really hungry or not, then you might be hungry, because that might be a sign of mental hunger, where your brain is literally sending you those thoughts about food so that you eat, because sometimes it's just like too much energy to have your body create hunger cues. So instead your brain sends those hunger cues and they show up in thoughts. So again, if you're questioning if you're hungry, please eat. And the next one is something that I touched on before in this video, and it is not being able to stop thinking about food. You might feel like you're getting an obsession with food. You might feel like you're getting addicted to food. There is no such thing. We do need to eat. Every one of us needs to eat every day. There is no food addiction. But if you have these constant thoughts about food, that is honestly a very normal part in recovery. And I do understand how exhausting it is. I really do. But it is so normal. There is nothing wrong with you. Again, you are not greedy. You are not obsessed with food. Well, it can feel like you're obsessed with food, but it is normal in recovery because, again, your body and your brain just want to make sure that after this long famine where you just didn't get enough energy, that you eat. And so a good way for them is to, think about food all the time. And you might feel like you're thinking about what to eat next. You might feel like you are watching like food videos or like Instagram pages. In that case, please try to make sure to not look at any like diet stuff, any low calorie recipes, because that shit can just like sneak in and there might be the eating disorder trying to like find its way in again. But other than that, honestly, thinking about food all the time is such a common part in recovery. I'm pretty sure every one of you who is or was in recovery before can actually, just let me know in the comments if you felt that way, because I certainly did. And I was convinced that it wouldn't stop, because for me, it actually took I want to say at least 1.5 or 2 years. For some people, it's faster. For some people, it's longer, and there's nothing wrong with that. But constantly thinking about food and not being able to think about anything else is very common. Again, it will go by, it will go over eventually, but it is nothing to feel bad for. I really hope this video helped you. Let me know in the comments if you can relate to anything, if not to all of those things. I just want to raise more awareness and want you guys to know that there is nothing wrong with you. Again, if I would get $1 for every time that somebody tells me, what if I'm making that up? What if I'm greedy? What if I'm not really hungry? Then I would probably be super rich by now. So all jokes aside, it is of course understandable that you feel insecure. You want to do things right, but you're also afraid to go maybe to another extreme, which is something that so many people are afraid of. But this is just what recovery looks like. And by talking about it and by sharing what other people told me, what clients told me, I really hope to raise more awareness. I really hope to make sure that you feel more seen and that you feel less alone in your recovery journey. So yeah, I really hope that helps. Let me know in the comments if you have any other questions, if there's something that you struggle with, if you feel unsure if something is normal or not. And of course, I'm still taking in clients, so let me know if you need a little extra support, but I'm also super happy to just answer your question in my video.